function that I want to look at in this video is what's called the settlement generator. Now, settlements, or in Australia as we call them RCTIs, are the payment to your growers. So the people that you're purchasing grain off, you're going to deduct some levies and maybe adjust the contract price for a few different factors. And then you're going to produce an RCTI and send them a payment either by cheque or by EFT. So I just want to quickly touch on that process. There is a separate video on the settlement process itself, but I'm just going to touch on the actual settlement entry and then go through the settlement generator. So the settlement entry or the settlement tools all exist under the TR menu in purchasing activities. And you see down here we've got a settlement entry, settlement generator, settlement payment, and a settlement reversal. So we'll just start by going into settlement entry. You can see in the screen here it's a lead-in browser that shows me all of the settlements or payments that I've got set up at this point in time and are active. So these are ones that I haven't actually posted to my general ledger yet. Maybe I'm still working on them and I haven't drawn a check, for example. And so, yeah, they're all active. I've got a branch filter up here, so I've got different branches that do the settlement, so I can filter by that. And in my case, I've got one settlement. I can select that and review it, and I can see here that it's to customer Smith. He's got 100 metric tons of product at an average price of $372.20 for a gross payment of $37,220. On my tickets page, I can see that the payment's made up of 3 tickets, all for product APW1, and these are the quantities that I'm going to settle, as well as the price. Now, I can come in here and change or only part pay a particular ticket if I want. Otherwise, I can just leave it as is. On this adjustments, levies and taxes, I can review the levies that have been calculated on this settlement. Now, if I wanted to reduce my DPI levy slightly, I can put in an adjustment here, and that will incorporate into the deduction that's taken off his payment. Similarly, if I wanted to, I could add a new royalty in if there was one that had been left off my settlement. I can also see the taxes that have been paid and collected on this settlement. And on my detail page, I get to see a summary of where I'm up to. Here's my gross amount of the tickets. I can see my total levies, my tax, and what my total check payment is. If I had deductions for things like admix or freight deduction, for instance, I'd see a summary of those. And if I had any adjustments, I'd also see the total of those adjustments there. Once I save that, I can go into my splits page and I can mark that settlement as complete. And I can also print out and review my RCTI here. If I just preview that to screen, it then gives us an idea of what the RCTI that I can send out to that customer is going to look like. So, going back into the settlement generator basically lets me generate a mass amount of settlements for any given period, and it's going to help me cut down on the processing time for my settlement entry stages. The system, obviously, when tickets are entered into the system, it keeps an eye on the status of those. It knows which ones have been paid, which ones are ready to be paid, which ones have been partially settled, etc., etc. Does all those calculations in the background. And so the settlement generator really links into that and enables me to quite quickly identify the tickets that I want to pay for a particular period or particular subset of tickets and generate those quite quickly. So the settlement generator is on the menu under activities, purchase activities and settlement generator. When I come in, I get this this form that comes up. I can put in my settlement branch, which is going to dictate what kind of taxes, etc. gets added to the settlement. So normally it's your main branch. And then I can select a range of due dates that I wanted to generate settlements for this particular run for. So I'm just going to leave it quite open because in my test system I have lots of tickets over all sorts of dates, but obviously you might do it for only a week, or maybe a couple of weeks, maybe even a day. have an EDI Bank GL account. Now what this allows me to do is to set up a separate EFT clearing account so that all transactions relating to an EFT go through that clearing account, and then I can do a general journal in the background to my main bank account so that only one amount appears on in my general ledger, which may match what happens with my actual bank account. I've got these customer categories here. Now, if I've got customers set up as different categories, I can filter my list down by that. And where you see that, if I go back into my customer profile, I'll just select one of the customers here. We can see a report category over here, and you can set up your own report categories and subcategories, allocate them to any particular customer. Once you've done that, you can then use this filter here to select subsets of customers if you like. I've got a checkbox to say whether I want to deduct any outstanding accounts receivable for this run. So if I've got some freight or some drying charges or weighbridge fees that I want to take off his payment, I can do that as part of the settlement process. And also got another one, if I like to settle my contracts in total rather than on a ticket due date basis, then this little checkbox allows me to do that. Once I've set all of that, I simply click the generate button. The system will then go through and evaluate all the tickets that are in the system that are unpaid at this point in time and set up settlements for me. I now close out of this screen, and if I go back into my settlement entry, you can now see that we've got a number of different settlements that the system's picked up and automatically created for me. Now, at this stage I can just go and raise checks against those, but I can also go in and actually review these and edit them if I want to. So maybe I want to put a different settlement date if I'm not producing the check until tomorrow. Maybe I want to not pay this guy by EFT. I can uncheck this EDI approved button here. I can go into the tickets. I can review the ones that the settlement generator has picked up for payment. It may be that there's a couple of them that I want to take off, and I can do that. I can review my settlement, my taxes and royalties and levies that have been calculated. I can add an adjustment on if I need to, and then I can review the details of what the calculation is. And if I'm happy with that, I can then go and draw my check. Okay, so to draw the check, it's simply a matter of coming down to purchase activities into the settlement payment. Brings up Crystal report, where I can put in my starting check number, or if I'm using the system to keep a track of my numbers, I can leave this one as a Y. I can say what bank account I want to pay from. So if I am using a separate EFT clearing account, I'll need to do a run for my EFT clearing ones as well as a run for my actual checks. And then some other parameters that allow me to do some various filtering on the checks that I'm drawing at this stage. Once I'm happy, I can preview these to screen. If I have got pre-formatted checks, I can simply print those off. If they are EFTs, the main thing I'm doing here is generating an individual number against the payment so that I can send that up to the bank. If I come back into my settlement browser and refresh here, I can see that those settlements have now been picked up with check numbers allocated to them. Now, just to complete the process, once I've raised those checks and sent them off, I can then do my settlement payments, settlement journal, which is this one here, run that journal. As soon as I run that, that'll clear these out of this browser and post my entries to the general ledger. It will also, if I am creating a EFT file out of the system, allow me to come over into my accounts payable section, come into my payment processing, and actually review the EFT transactions that are ready to be set up and added to my AVA file. And of course, I can then go into and actually generate my AVA file.